sir. You ready, big fella in the back, cameraman that don't speak English? Are you ready? Yeah, today we got the barber panel. My name is CraigSkilz, the host. And I got the panel integrity versus influence. We got a big crowd in the audience right now. So we'll get, as we do, first before we gonna get started to my right, I want all the guys to introduce themselves. And we're gonna pass it on to the left. First we got up, and we got up next.
All right, my name is Leeko. I'm a busy underwear. I'm working at the shop since high school, basically. That's it.
My name is Creekmur, called Jigsaw, co-founder and CEO of allhiphop.com and a patron of this guy right here, CraigSkilz. My name is Javar Rochester. I've been a barber for 16 years. I specialize in high-end clientele, NFL, NBA, MVP, when it comes to being sharp and fresh precision packaging.
Eugene Thomas. I'm a barber, author, coach, and mentor in the industry, helping us with coming up. Right in the night content.
So absolutely, right now we want to share a mic game. We want to keep it moving. So first, as we got the panelists up there, I want to give we start with the young guy on stage, is Malik. So Malik, the question for you is, you have a bachelor's degree in 2026. Can a barber with 100K followers be zero education actually be a leader in the barber industry without having an education? As a young barber, can he still be a leader without going through the educational process, being an educator? Just by a barber not having a degree or nothing like that, can he still be, but he has 100K followers, can he be a leader without the education?
You have to do something like how you can carry yourself. If you're not only around something, if you're actually doing something accountable, being self-aware, but the followers are big. Most times you got any followers, people going, you know what I'm saying, act as if they're celebrity already. So as long as you got the wherewithal to be yourself, I believe that you definitely a leader. Absolutely.
Right. Anybody got anything to add to this question?
Can he be a leader without going to school, without any type of education?
Can a barber, without no education, but 100,000 followers, can still be a leader?
Yeah, but you got to understand his level.
Okay.
So, depending on your level of experience, you can be a leader of the level. But in order to be a leader at the top, you have to be more in your skill set. So, school is going to give you that more opportunity to be more. Can be a leader, yes, but on one level.
Okay. Anybody else got something to add to it?
Well, I'm not a barber, obviously, but I would say that traditional school teaches you other skill sets than just how to cut hair. It teaches character, sometimes it teaches organization, it can teach business, you know what I mean? So the leadership aspect is beyond just the skill sets, right? Because that's for the charisma to attain 100,000 followers. How do you translate that into success?
Right. Absolutely. Anything you want to add more? Go. No. Okay. The next question is for VAR, the celebrity barber. For VAR, you cut the stars. Does your influence get in the room with a celebrity, or your integrity behind the chair keeps you having a job with a celebrity?
I definitely would say it's the integrity behind the chair. There's never been a situation where just because the following made it where it automatically gave me access to an individual. The integrity that I have that I protect from my clients, what I keep private, that's what continues to keep me getting more referrals. So I don't jeopardize my integrity just to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. If there's no pictures, then there's no pictures. If there's no content, then there's no content. Those are things that to me that are important because I'm still providing a service.
Absolutely. So the Jigsaw, you being a media mogul, how did you, what was your message to barbers, being as though you handled that? How did you handle that with the stars? And what's your message to the barbers?
Well, I mean, my message to the barbers is figure out ways to get these jobs to the people, to the maybe not the A-listers, but maybe the B or C or D. You know what I'm saying? Because you might see someone with a certain type of hair, but you don't exactly know where that's coming from or who that's coming from, or even how to get that done. Because I think a lot of times your traditional barbers, those places you don't automatically assume can do it, right? Or it might be a little awkward to go in there and be like, yo, give me one ditty guy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's how I feel, but I wear hats a lot. So I'm not really tripping off that, but every now and then I'll be like, yo, I want the Nas, whatever that moon, half moon, something like that.
Anybody else got something to say about being a celebrity barber? I look at all celebrities in your own right, but a few questions for us you constantly mess up. Okay, Eugene, this is a question for you. As you've been an industry specialist, is chasing money better than chasing lights to the master?
No, don't chase the bag, chase the profit. The money will come, right? And that's what a lot of people miss the mark on. All they're focused on is the money. But if you focus on yourself and you put the time in to develop your craft and your skills, the money will follow, man. You don't got to chase the bag. If you chase the process, the bag automatically comes with it. That's the example that a lot of people are missing these days, especially with the advent of social media, because social media makes it look so easy and interesting that it's going to come automatically. Like a lot of barbers, especially ones that's just coming out of school, how do you get from out of school to the bag? And the best way to do that is focusing and developing yourself first.
Okay, I like it. Got anything else to add to that?
Yeah, man, because not enough people understand the journey. They look at it as a quick grab and think that's going to continue to happen. But when you have a passion for it, a true passion, it means you do it without the money. If you're willing to wake up and live the lifestyle and the process without the money is definitely going to come. And obviously all the other things got to be in place, but you have to have a love, true understanding that this is what I was here to do, and understanding because of that, drive, determination, discipline, motivation, the upside will happen naturally. I think I want to add to that. I was having a conversation the other day with someone, and we were speaking about barbering. And it wasn't about money, it was about systems. While the rest of the industry is trying to find the latest, the greatest, what's this, what's the best, we were literally just ignoring the fact that the systems we learned from our elders as younger barbers are still applicable today. There are still systems that we're just focused on mastering, just those systems. We're not worried about what the prices are. We're not worried about raising this or raising that. We're literally just focused on we are replicating the system of experience. That experience giving us the results. As time grows, the money grows. And that's what we care about. You know, so yeah, I'm going with that.
Okay, absolutely. Celebrity barbers, absolutely. So the question I have is allhiphop.com, Jigsaw. So you've seen a lot of rappers grow their brand and a lot of rappers go broke. So what do you tell the barber to stay consistent in this media world, but they not a barber, so they don't know people? What information you have for barbers to keep the media world so they can be a mogul in their industry and not go broke?
Well, I think now you have to, first of all, understand who your audience is. I think you have to know who's reviewing. I think you have to have a vision of who you want to be, who you want to project yourself as. If you consider yourself a mogul up here, then I think you should present yourself as that. So having vision for who you want to be is first and foremost the most important thing. And then to avoid going broke, it's real simple. I think you have to look at yourself as a business, look at your business as a business, and treat both accordingly. Okay. If you sit there and think that business is going to somehow then when it was time to go on my own, which I've been over 20 years, you were ready to do it. So you have to take a course, learn the real social media, not the front end, which is just posting, but learn the algorithm or learn the best time to post, learn the format of each post, learn the study the Greeks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I studied everybody from Robert Greene to Sun Tzu. All of it is applicable to your industry. You have to figure what's best.
Okay, that's good information from the moment. So my next question now is off the top. Absolutely.
So financial literacy is a potential make a really play in our industry, especially because a lot of us get paid in cash. And we all know cash comes in fast and it goes out fast. So like we just wake up with no money and come up with $3,000, $5,000, $2,000 right there in the Right. So financial literacy is a class in our industry that is definitely needed. Okay, set up simple. When I get this money, what do I do? Not just a bank account, but we don't have the kindness to what's up on us. So learning how to automate your money, learn how to invest your money, learn how to put your money into purpose so that when we do retire, because we're all retired. Right. We need to figure out financial system, not just what we do in the industry, what protecting us and preparing us for life after this. A lot of us go broke. It's not because we failed to plan, but not because we failed to those who do not plan to fail are planning to plan. So money being that cash and come to last year to figure out how to work. 10% into annuity, into the stock market, into an IRA, into accounts that will defer and build. So 10, 20, 30 years down the line, when we're no longer cut 8 to 10 hours a day, all of the money that we generate in the economy is not working for us. We have a cushion, we can retire for ourselves and not go broke in.
Absolutely. Malik, you have something to say?
Now, I'm speaking on I took a board at the time about, I feel like real barber is coming back and do something about with the social media. And it seemed like, on that Chuck, like how would you tell me about a young barber here in Texas as far as like, maybe looking around this year. But I know it's a balance, but I don't think that's important. Save yourself.
That's a good question, and I'm not sure what the answer is, but I will say this. You know, having a culture when you walk into a barbershop is important. That's what I think is important.
Okay.
Having a culture. And then it's like McDonald's versus Olive Garden versus a high-end restaurant. Like, what's your culture? Now, obviously, you pay for that, or you may have to filter out, like you might not want every customer. So I look at a lot of this really into a friend of mine who has a son. He's really like, they curse too much. They smoke in there. You know what I'm saying? And he won't go in certain places, and they don't have respect for his son. So from an integrity standpoint, I think that is different in every situation. But I would say having a culture is the most important. So people, when they come in there, they know how to act. My uncle was a barber until he retired. And he had a culture.
Right.
You know, ebony magazines, no cursing, and really no hip-hop.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But you can go in there as a family with no sweat, no problem.
Okay. Well, then there's no, except for Chuck and the rest of the great guys are barbers. I want to have come off of Chuck and that question. The culture in your barbershop that you're working on, how to work and everything. You think you worry about that with your clientele, with your kids of today when a man says, I don't want my kid to come in the shop when they're smoking, they're cursing a lot, but the kid sitting in your chair on TikTok and you listening to foul, watching foul stuff on his phone. But the dad has a different message to you as a barber to clean yourself up, but you over the shoulder of the kid, and you're looking at like, yo, your kid is looking at foul and stuff, and I'm saying I'm not for the barbershop people. How do you handle that bar as a client, as a barber?
that's funny because I've been in situations like that where I've had parents address me about the barbershop environment, and I've literally witnessed their children in the chair on the phone, scrolling or opening up their phone where they have pornography on the phone. And these are young children that are riding in the back seats, and you're not paying attention to them. Just like charity starts at the house, educating and being aware of your children starts at the house. I think that parents are using shops as extensions to what they want their homes to be like if their homes are not. Because we see, well, I know I've seen where kids are on multiple chat sites, and I've seen them revealing themselves to each other. We don't know the games that these kids play.
Right.
And I think that enough parents are not actually in the phones. So there's this comes to we're talking about integrity. As a parent, when I have someone address me about the shop, I have to make sure that I address them too about the character of their child and things that I do. So a lot of times, just say I can be recording content of their child, and their child doesn't follow a command. When your child doesn't follow a command by the adult, they're not following in school. They're not following from you. Even though we are the fathers of the community, there's been situations where I had to rear the child before, or I had to discipline the child before in the shop. It's so much more that you're bringing your children to us. We're still men too. We're still fathers too. You have to trust and know that the black barbershop is the cornerstone. It's not going to be the gospel music playing, but if it is, that's fine. All your family, the people that you are married to, that's what's going to belong in your shop. And we're strong enough as black men and barbers to say, if we see your child doing something wrong, it's not what you hear, it's not what you do. You know, we've all been in situations where we know the difference. It's kind of equivalent to a Caucasian and the N-word in a rap song. Just because you hear it doesn't mean that you're going to say it. So it's the same thing. So you can hear what you want. Well, you have to understand that if there's ever an issue that we need to hear wrong, well, I've learned this from you. If there's an issue in the shop that goes beyond what our culture is, if it's disrespect, let's get it checked. Culturally, whether it's a movie, whether it's a song, any of those things, we're not playing that to lose the harm. Because we have to have education if there's ever an issue, then we know how to correct it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when people say that I don't want that, then if this is the barber that you want, you're not coming to a barber who you think has integrity and cuts good, but he's going to promote violence and ignorance. No, that's our culture. You know, and I think that that's something that's important that we understand that. Just like you said, the barbershop is the safest place. What are your kids doing when they're in their rooms by themselves? Or they're in the third row of the back seat with their headphones on their way to the barbershop? And I think that enough parents aren't checking that. You're not going through your kids' search history. We can control what we can control. If we feel like this long is too much or the vibe is a bit much, we change it.
So I'm wondering, how do you handle that when a parent says, tells you that they don't like the shop or like the music or what's going on in the shop, but yet you look over the shoulder at their child and you see the most foul stuff on the child's phone that the parent just gave you?
I mean, I only had that issue probably one time, but I always had a feeling like I always have a conversation with the kids to see what they're doing in the house, what they're doing in school. And it's always something like, I'm looking at the parent who's super strict, but they're telling me that they're watching this and the third and playing, crazy games and whatnot. So I think, moving forward from that, I've always like had a side conversation with the parent. Like, hey, you might want to check this out. I tell you what to do, but you might want to look at this or look at the iPad, look at the cell phone, or just check what they do in the studio. Half the time, they're telling me everything.
Absolutely.
Whether, it's a 6-year-old to an 18-year-old. So I just, think that as barbers, we should always have that side conversation. Because like Art said, it's the same place they can be at this point in time.
Right.
And we ain't doing no harm to kind of play out. So, we just had a conversation.
Absolutely. How you been?
So how I handle it is by giving the full range of the spectrum. Okay, so our culture is projecting one image, and if a parent comes in and requests a different, I would apply, right? So that the child will know that it's not just one way. There's a multitude of ways to do it. Right? So by giving them the full spectrum, like a lot of kids that I've seen growing up here, now that they're young adults graduated from college, they come back to the shop and they're like, there was conversations that inspired me in the shop when I was 8, 9, 10, which led to my development as a young adult. So when parents or anybody gives me any kind of criticism about what's going on in the shop, I take that into consideration, right? No matter what the kid is into, no matter what's going on outside the barbershop, while you're inside the barbershop, I would think that he's what you're saying. You give the child a bigger, the full spectrum of what possibilities are.
Okay, absolutely.
So I've been going to your shop since probably like 15. So I'm 33 now. And thinking back about like the movies and the music that we listen to, in this shop, it's always like a learning experience. Right? Recently, we're doing the 100 black movies.
We started at my shop. We got the top list of the 100 black films ever made, and every day we had some random client to pick a number out from 100 to 1. They pick a number, say 23. We go to the list and we watch that movie. What I'm trying to do is to get even elders and to young people to watch black films that you've never seen. So even if you watch for 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, your interest is up. Because you only know a couple of black films, and then you can learn from films and just watch stuff that you've never seen before. So it's an engagement with the barbers to keep us working at consistent paces. We helping the kid, parent watch something, not stop over our shoulder while we cut. And everybody focus on the TV. It's something they never watched before. So you try to, as a shop owner, you try to move the room. I learned that over here. You gotta move the room and read the room of who in the shop. So we had an elder lady coming to the shop the other day. She's going to the nail tech, but she got shades on top of her optical, but she's ready running to everybody. So everybody think I'm joking, like, man, please take the shades off. I'm tripping. But the elder, she's still walking when you about to fall. So I had to read the room to stop cutting to help the elder. But a lot of shops will do that. They just let it crash and burn in the shop. So we all go up to my shop and still so that we kind of read the room of everybody in the shop. And that's how we do it. Anybody got anything else to say for that?
I will say, like, you're talking about controlling the environment of the shop and the stigmas that come with the barbershop. When you have a leader of the shop who understands what his environment means and the integrity that he's standing on with his shop, you have to trust that that's the captain of your team. So we had a situation where we were doing a selection of a movie, and there was a woman that came in that was a pastor. And the movie that she selected ended up being New Jack City. So being of a woman who was a pastor, yes, but she remembered before she got into her calling that she's seen this movie before, that this is something that we all can relate to. This is something that is embedded in our culture. And it wasn't like, oh my God, you can't watch that, or this is good. There still were things in the movie that we were all able to relate, whether it was the music, how we used to dance in the 80s and the 90s. That's our culture and our heritage. And as black people, we've all been raised properly. In a barbershop, this is nothing more than an extension of how we've been raised. All the shops with the drugs and the guns and the smoking, they're not shops. They're not businesses that last long. They're not respected places in the community. And all of these communities are turning over, new leads and evolving, whether it's gentrification or just people reinvesting. It's so easy to spot places that are not ran correctly with integrity.
Right. I gotta take it back to Chuck. Chuck, as you're not a barber, you're here at the show, it's your first time here, you meet the barbers, we talk a lot, and in this field of media and traveling the world, the Grammys, everything, meet so many high-profile stars in the entertainment field. What advice would you have to cosmetologists, nail techs, and barbers to maybe change anything they could do to be successful on the media side as far as posting or presenting themselves to the world?
That's a good question. Figuring out ways to partner with people. I'm trying to think of out of the loop a little bit with some of the celebs, like this, or I can say David, I used to remember his barber. I can't remember who it was. things. And I think that once you're able to multiply the different offerings you have, whether that's for the end consumer or perhaps someone that's a little more high profile, I think that all boats rise that way. You know, if we had a talk series in a barbershop or something else, or a freestyle series. You know what I'm saying? Like all of those things, community engagement, they present the spot in a positive light, but also it brings like organic attention to the business. Okay. I think experiential is something that you always want to stress, whether that's a website, a supermarket.
Right.
You want experience when you walk into the type of chairs you sit in. The art on the wall, I notice you have nice art. You know what I mean? So those are the small details that matter.
Absolutely.
So the most important thing is understanding you are the brand. Like everybody wants to create this big fictitious entity and not realizing that you are the brand. Each individual, how you present yourself, how you carry yourself, your authenticity and integrity as to which you bring is what's going to accommodate your brand.
Right.
And how people want to see you on the internet and how you are going to understand. Ultimately, everybody needs to understand and realize, don't try to create anything. You are.
Right. Absolutely.
You are the first representation of the brand.
Right. Absolutely. I saw so many young barbers in the time of social media, that's stylists, barbers, and nail techs. Every name that people create, they always have "and" or "the" or "the" in their name. And then you end up on social media with a whole pile of people. So I always tell people, if you're creating, like Eugene just said, a brand, use a unique name. But most of the time, the name is funny and you don't want to use the name, but that's probably the name you should use. And I always tell you, what did your grandmother call it? It's something unique. It might be weird to you, but that might be a bigger brand to you on the internet. So now when you get the name, you say, I'm sorry to use bar, I'm Bar the Barber. You spell it a different way. But then if you use a unique name, then you separate yourself in business. You're a bar as a person, but in business, you're the style, such and such style name. And then now when you do your paperwork, financials, all that's in the financial paperwork, but you are the same person as your solo paper. It's all switching the names up and running a paper trail, but that's, you have to learn from somebody that's been through it and understands. Everybody don't understand that big of a name right there. Absolutely. Any questions for the audience? I have a person that just walked in. I know he has a question. Mr. State Board, you have a question for the panel? Yeah.
One that I have for you guys is not necessarily like what was the start that made you jump into our industry, but like what is it that keeps you guys on an individual level staying in our industry? Because when I see you, I've seen you a couple of times and we've been talking and I met you today. To where like I know the longer that you're in the industry, like the circles get small. Right? And so like when I see you guys, I'm like, okay, they're doing something right. So like what is it about you guys individually that allows you guys to run it and keeps you guys centered here in our industry?
Well, for me, it's about, it's the community. I love the interaction, the networking, and the ability to change somebody's life. Like what we're doing is not just the service, especially for men. The barbershop creates a space that we can come and be us. Like there's not a lot of safe spaces for men and young boys that are developing and turning into it. So I keep doing it for the network. I keep doing it for the uniqueness that we bring and the ability to change somebody's life one nigga at a time. Yeah.
Before we go to bar.
I think for me, what keeps me in it is I'm always want to be a student. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too big, as far as like my ego is concerned. So always constantly learning about it. I'm always trying to figure out ways to feed, ways to raise a different
think as a creative, before it started getting to like social media and creatives, barbers are people who love to start a task and master it. I remember the first time I walked into my cousin's shop, and I couldn't understand how I thought if you just were there, you would get people. And I'm watching him accelerate through so many people in cut, and I'm frustrated with him. That's the shit that lit a fire. And once it lights the fire, like, unfortunately, I can't stop chasing the fire of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's like an addiction to creativity. And that's something that for me, that I really enjoy, is that being there for the repetition creates when you can master the moments where it's graduation or it's a wedding or it's these timeless moments that you don't really understand how important it really looks like until someone looks back 20 years from now and goes, damn, I was clean that day. It's like, well, I was part of that. So that's what keeps me going.
Any other questions from the audience? Everybody gonna get a crack at that, and I am too.
Like I'm saying, the femininity, the softness that breaks off the masculinity of a barbershop. So the female barbers that are coming in, it's not just about the look. We have to be all types of stuff. It gives us a bigger perspective of what we're talking about.
I think as far as like, barbers that are women, they definitely bring, I don't want to say like anything crazy, but the femininity you can bring to the barbershop is bar.
I'm going to go a completely different route. As a female barber, you are required to bring an immense amount of talent and retail. We don't care that you think that you belong, because the rest of the world, they're not going to care either. They're going to judge you off of how you look, they're going to judge you off of your body, and they're going to judge you off of those things. Because this is a male-dominated industry. It doesn't mean that you can't come and you can't excel, and you can, but you have to understand that you're going to be required just as much as we went to the job that's not traditionally for us. We will be required to do so much more. So we welcome it, we encourage it, but we also tell people, don't come in the industry and pimp it. Don't come in with your butt noticeably out. Don't come in doing content where your cleavage showing, because immediately what happens when you start getting the followers and the views when you're a terrible barber? You will think that you're good. And then when you think you're good, the followers think you're good, and then the brands think you're good. Then the barbers who have been pushing and have years of experience and are actually producing good work, the brands go, we don't want you because they like that. We will come in and bring people everything in the industry because we know what you're going to do with it. Same in the household. If a man comes, he brings you all the money, he brings you all the resources. What are you going to do with it? You're going to delegate. So it's the same thing. You have the ability to delegate within this industry to bring your softness, to bring your trying to make sure attention to detail or anything dirty ass thing.
Let me redeem myself. I didn't want to say nothing like crazy or right. But I think
merging everything together, barbering, cosmetology, now dreadlocks into the field. And that's what the women bring. So now the future barber is the women cutting, she's cutting a male, she's doing dreads. So now the men got to catch up. There's very few men that can have a high profile haircut and do dreads. That's the futuristic barber, where it's clientele barber, like the women barber is. I got a haircut client, then I got a dreadlock client. So a lot of men now are losing that battle because the African Americans, we think that our clientele is leaving, or our clientele are dreads. So that's where I'm saying. But other than that, the women is coming, be confident, learn all you can learn, but again, the men on stage, the women always go to the classes and learn. So if you want to have a class on anything, or education, or getting paid, go for the women because they're going to pay first more than the men. All men barbers have to eat, but they don't want to learn from another man. But the women are going to soak you up for money for this. Let's just say order that. Majority of this place, a lot of women. You just travel across, a lot of women there. So my next person, I know my cousin, I want to have Reese, the barber. I know you have a question, so we're going to give the mic to Javar Rochester if you have the question. I listened to Michael Jackson in an interview in the mid-90s Vibe magazine. And in that interview, they asked Michael Jackson to be around the kids why he got the kids around. He said the kids keep the pulse up. His pulse is belonging to the kids. So he said, I'm watching what the kids do and learn from the kids because they keep the energy and the pulse of the game. They keep always going. So it's always new kids. Always new kids. The second thing, his name was Larry Fletcher. I don't know if you know my YouTube. Larry Fletcher was a big-time cosmetologist from YouTube, retired now. He told me at a show, he said, you gotta keep the pulse to the youth and the young kids. So go to shows, but talk to the younger stylists and the barbers. They might not be good, they might not be nothing, but you're going to get something new from them in their energy. So to keep an older person going, you can't be around your older friends. They talk about retirement, sitting home, watching their own show, but the kids keep you fresh. Close lines, let them go think about how old you are. You know, what I'm supposed to wear, what's up to date, what is my slang up to date, my change up to date. All that is a purpose for you to stay relevant in the game. And you gotta pump yourself. You know how to go at it. Get older, everybody's supposed to wake up. I'm like the shopping bars all day. Everybody, all I can eat. I walk up and hey, my name's something. I'm for something. Talk to them. Turn, they go while you're as an elder. Turn out a little bit as a young guy. And I ask them serious questions. And I give them about the swagger. You live to the shop. I got a young guy. I got vets. I keep everybody around me. And keep me flowing up. And it also keeps your barber in. So I always tell people that's one of the main things. You ain't never heard me say that though. What keeps your barber in hot? My friend Jigsaw, what keeps your pin hot to do the interviews? You know what I'm saying? So something drives you. Yeah, you want to talk about what drives you?
Relevancy is this. Relevant to the hair show. They always keep reinventing themselves. Finding out new ways to do something that you've been doing for the last 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, that's always my engaged, interactive, and just staying a student to the game. Keep on networking. That's what it's all about. Relevance, engagement, interaction, learning.
Right. Before we go to the weekend Mark's question, I want to Eugene have a unique story. This show started 2 years ago. And I met one of his family members called the Barber Servant. I met him on a podcast. I didn't know this person. We met on the internet on the podcast. We talked about after the podcast and we had a conversation. So I said I had to do this show for the first year. I said, you take over my class at the show. He said, cool. So he's coming to the here for barber surgery, he passed away Friday. So this why this is beautiful to us. So I met him at this show. You know what I'm saying? So we conversed on that. He passed away. So I'm like, man, they probably never physically met him. So this is what these shows do. You just never know what it leads to down the line. So then I spun it back 3 years ago. Yo, I got a panel. Come to the panel now. So now it's not you replace a barber surgeon. I can see the love and the game he had with him. Yo, you need to come be a part of it. If the barber surgeon right here, next up, he's going to be up anyway. But that's the love that I give all the time. Everybody, come on, let's get this.
This is why you say right now, now meeting the people and you interact with them, their crowd becomes your crowd. They're going to get to a whole different amount. And a whole
Boy, you got something to say to Reese's question?
I think the same in the conversation that we had, many conversations in the garage about understanding when you have the knowledge and the foundation in that. These kids come in, they don't have any of that. And the youth is what I don't necessarily like, not about how they put me on, but about the shit they do wrong. So I know I have the knowledge and I see that they do wrong, I'm going to do the opposite of that. So if I know I have a better work ethic than you, then I'm going to outwork you. If I know that I have more patience than you, then I'm going to outwork you. Those are things that you and I talk about all the time about staying relevant. And a lot of times, if you've been around during a time when it was real, you will always be relevant if you're not in your own way.
Malik, you got a question about how you stay relevant?
And yeah, one thing for me, I was I worked at a high school, and I had 2 young brothers that license right now. I used what I learned from Craig when I was in high school, and what I learned from Bart, I just passed it down to them. And just watching them cut because, like you said, they got different styles, they got different swing. So when I'm sitting in the classroom, bouncing ideas with each other, and I'm telling them what I know, and they're telling me what they want to learn. But just keep evolving and passing the information down to the kids. Like that's how I want to stay relevant.
So Chuck, how would you do that if a young person that want to be like you, start a website, do media, what do you tell them, or how do you stay relevant and keep this something so long in the name of all the websites?
I know one thing. I don't look back a lot. I look forward. I stay in the moment, and I think that helps me stay clear. I don't get, a lot of people like to say this is dead or that is dead, or I wish it was like that. I don't do that a lot. I stay firmly rooted in the present. You mentioned and Malik mentioned, surrounding yourself by younger people. I don't do that like a lot because I found that a lot of younger people don't necessarily have the well of knowledge that you really need to stay relevant or to move forward. But that's essentially what I do. I mean, staying relevant has it's almost like chasing a carrot. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I don't really chase that carrot. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's like whatever. You know what I mean? I think I just stay very, very passionate about the art, the creativity, moving the culture forward.
Right.
If you do that, you'll be all right. I don't chase relevance. I see a lot of people that do.
Right.
And you're like, why are you doing that? Right. And now it's cool if you want to look like a nut.
Okay, I got one more question for the panel. The last question while we're here at HEBS 26. As you walked around the show, can you give anything that you see that you liked coming to the show for the first time, and how did it help you in your career going forward coming to the show? Anything you've seen that might help you, or products you've seen, watching competitions, did anything at the HEBS help you?
So I'm going to be optimistic about it. I walked around all day today, and my family came to support me. And I was explaining to my cousin I was going to keep growing, and what she said to me was, some things take time. And when you're trying to build something, when you're trying to dream, there's going to be plenty of people like me to say, oh, this is small or it's not big. It put things in perspective with me to understand that there is always going to be a step one. And I need to make sure that I'm honoring my step ones so that when someone looks back 10 years from now, they'll say, damn, like he grew. Me and Malik were talking about if your life was a stock, what's the value of your stock of your life? And you always want to be on upwards of ever. So that's something that I've seen. We've been to enough shows to know what this could be. And she reminded me that everything starts in the beginning. That's what I took.
What I'm taking from the show is there's a lot more people that look like me, right? I go to a lot of hair shows, and our culture is grossly underrepresented. So as I walk through the crowd here, I see a lot more that look like me. And this hair show is, I think, the beginning of that, and it's going. I'm here for it. That way I could add some influence, I could add anything, get value to it. I'm always down for it to help our group to move forward, but we've kind of taken it back.
Right.
And it's time for us to come back to our record.
Absolutely.
I've been here for the past 2 years now.
Absolutely.
So this is the biggest that I've saw it. So, I guess it's growing every year, and I like that. But this is the mention all the bars that we are connected to online. It's a lot like Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Like, we introduce ourselves inside each other. There's no need to add Hollywood there. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I think the influencer situation is dying. And it's getting back to real water and real craft. So, I'm seeing a lot of that in the show now. And we're going to take that back home. Okay.
I just want to say, my daughter was originally supposed to be here with me. She's in the business, Jason, and she went to beauty school and hair school and graduated. And I'm a little disappointed that she's not here because this is way bigger than I thought.
Okay.
We were excited to have it going through the whole venue, but I'm going to just
Right. That's the same. I'm upset she's not here too. I really wanted to see her here. I really wanted to see her here. She would have lost it here tonight. Information, these products, everything she would have lost it.
Absolutely. So she's I'm trying not to do the dad thing. Too crazy. Just maybe a little.
Just like I said, the industry is growing. Like Eugene said, this is one of the few shows in the last 5 years that people look like us are attending the big numbers. We're trying to spin it back. I know stuff changes every 5 years, but this is the year to change. I call 2026 the year to change. And we're going to definitely get more of our culture out in the game because our culture still leads the culture of the heritage. Don't think because we don't say that we don't need the mention. We do lead the culture of the heritage. So I just like to thank kids for inviting us to do the panel. In 2026, we got Leeko, the educator, Chuck Jigsaw, oilpop.com mogul, Eugene the barber specialist, and Javar the barber, the celebrity barber, and I'm your host, CraigSkilz, for the 2026 Integrity versus Influence podcast. I said panel. I'm always talking podcast. I'm sorry for that. But I thank for everybody that coming to support us, and we made it happen. And I hope everybody got some information